At Forrester Creations, tension escalated with every whispered word and charged glance as secrets unraveled and lives teetered on the edge of transformation. Brooke Logan, never one to hold back when it comes to protecting her daughter, confronted Daphne Rose with cutting precision. The scene was sharp, deliberate. Brooke wasn't in the mood for diplomacy. Her warning was crystal clear: stay away from Carter and don't get in the way of the love he still holds for Hope. Brooke's loyalty to her daughter was unwavering, and Daphne found herself backed into a corner, forced to stand her ground against a woman who had made a career out of getting what she wanted. Moments later, Carter entered the scene. Having just overheard Hope speaking with Liam, heard her confess she would always love Liam. Carter's heart was in tatters. That conversation shattered the fragile hope he had clung to. The man who once stood tall, confident in his relationship with Hope, was now hollowed out. He interrupted Brooke and Daphne without apology, his voice low and clipped, asking to speak privately with Daphne. The shift in his energy was unmistakable: defeated, angry, tired. Once Brooke exited, Daphne asked Carter what had happened. His answer was bitter and quiet. His gut, his intuition, everything inside him had misled him. He'd convinced himself that Hope was his future, that he had finally found the woman who saw him not just as a rebound or a stepping stone, but as a man worthy of deep, enduring love. But Liam's words to Hope and Hope's silence in the face of them proved otherwise. Carter knew what had just happened. Hope was leaving him behind. Daphne watched the man she cared about break apart and didn't hesitate. She told Carter he shouldn't be alone tonight and left Forrester with him. At Carter's loft, the mood was subdued but emotionally raw. Carter sat in silence, eyes distant. Daphne didn't push. She knew the pain he was feeling because she had anticipated it. From the start, she feared Hope would never truly choose Carter. Now, watching his grief play out in real time, she admitted as much. She confessed that her greatest fear was seeing Hope hurt him again. And now it had come true. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the Logan and Forrester families were dealing with turmoil of their own. Steffi Forrester sat with her mother, Taylor Hayes, and her husband, Finn, racked with guilt over the secret she carried: Liam's terminal diagnosis. Taylor and Finn tried to reassure her, telling Hope the truth was the right thing to do. But Steffi still feared the consequences. She reminded them that Liam had explicitly asked for privacy. No one else was supposed to know. Finn understood. He treated patients like Liam before. Men who wanted to face death in silence, without burdening those they loved. But he also knew what that silence left behind. Families torn apart by regret. Children robbed of closure. He reminded Steffi that Liam wasn't alone. He had her. He had Hope. And that connection, as fragile as it was, had to mean something. Steffi couldn't shake the injustice of it all. Liam, a young father with years ahead of him, was slipping away. And his daughters, what would become of them? The thought gnawed at her. It was cruel, unforgivable, and it made her even more determined to do right by him, even if it meant keeping secrets and crossing boundaries. At Brooke's house, Hope sat beside Liam, her mind torn in every direction. She'd learned of his illness. She saw the gravity in his eyes. And now she couldn't stop wondering, did Liam wish Steffi had never told her? Liam, calm but weary, reassured her. He didn't regret her knowing. But he admitted he wanted more time. More moments before he had to see that sadness in her eyes. More time before she began to treat him like a memory instead of a man. In a moment that left Hope visibly shaken, Liam told her she deserved more. That she should grow old with someone who could give her the life she imagined. Someone who could be there. Someone who wasn't dying. He said the words without bitterness, only sadness. And then, gently, he pushed her toward Carter. He said Carter had always loved her the way she needed to be loved. That Carter had stood by her, believed in her, and saw her. He reminded her that the way she once looked at Liam, the love, the awe, the certainty, he'd now seen that same look when she looked at Carter. And as much as it hurt, Liam believed that Carter was the man Hope should be with. He asked her to forgive Carter, to give him another chance. And as Liam spoke, Hope's tears fell freely. She apologized for the pain they'd caused each other, for the dreams that never came true. But mostly, she thanked him, because even now, Liam was still putting her first. At that same moment, in Carter's loft, the emotional wreckage continued to unfold. Carter told Daphne everything. Every failure. Every relationship that ended in betrayal or abandonment. Zoe, Quinn, Katie, now Hope. He was tired of being the man women turned to only when it was convenient. He had loved them, all of them, but never enough to be chosen. Daphne, trying to stay strong, told him she understood. But it didn't stop her from feeling the sting. Carter had opened his heart once again, and Hope had closed the door. When Carter said he wouldn't be surprised if Hope and Liam got back together, Daphne quietly agreed. She'd seen it coming. And yet, the hurt in Carter's voice crushed her. He said he gave Hope everything, his loyalty, his love, his future, and she discarded it like it meant nothing. Like he meant nothing. Daphne didn't try to convince him otherwise. She didn't offer empty hope. She just said the one thing she knew he needed to hear. She was still there. She would always be there. Through every storm, every disappointment, every shattered dream. He didn't have to be alone anymore. Not unless he chose to be. But in a cruel twist of fate, while Carter was finally learning to accept the comfort in Daphne's steady presence, Hope made her choice. She went to Liam. The following week, news of a wedding rocked both families. Hope and Liam were getting married. Again. Despite everything, despite all the years of back and forth, they were tying the knot once more. For some, it felt right. For others, it felt like history doomed to repeat itself. But for Carter, it was final confirmation that the door was closed. This time, for good. As preparations for the wedding moved forward, another bomb dropped. Just when Liam and Hope were beginning to find peace in the idea of building a future together, a new baby on the way, the joy of family returning, Liam received devastating news. The tumor, which doctors had hoped was stabilized, had grown aggressively. The latest scans showed no path forward. No treatment. No surgery. Just time short, brutal, and running out fast. The news shattered everything. Hope, who had finally allowed herself to believe in a future with Liam, now faced the possibility of losing him all over again, this time for real. There would be no honeymoon. No long life together. Just heartbreak in slow motion. Carter, hearing the news from a distance, stood silently in the shadows. Whatever anger remained began to dissolve. There was no room for resentment anymore, only sorrow. And perhaps a lingering sense that the universe had always had its own cruel plans for them all. Steffi, Finn, Brooke, and Taylor all braced for impact. The final days of Liam's life would not just test their strength. They would define who they were and how they would carry forward. For the children. For Hope. For whatever legacy Liam would leave behind. And as the wedding approached, as vows were rehearsed and dresses chosen, one question loomed. Would Liam live long enough to say, "I do" one last time? Stay tuned. The drama has never cut deeper. The heartbreak has never felt closer. And the boldness is just beginning.